Welcome back to the final part of the trilogy. We are going into the final act of the Infinity War territory and also the start of Endgame, but I do want to call this episode Endgame because it is in the Endgame. We're in the Endgame. We're in the final battle between the Asgardians zombies, the Guardians of the Galaxy zombies, and the Avengers from Earth. So things are going to be really intense, and I do want to say that this series, this is it, guys. This is the final part of the series, and a lot of people had a lot of questions on why Doctor Strange couldn't just reverse time, and I do want to make a couple things clear. This was an enchantment spell mixed with Thor's blood and a lot of different things, so it's not as easy as you would think, because not only is dark magic involved, but there's just a lot of stuff that happened over the time span where Doctor Strange just couldn't do that, and that's why we're in this predicament with Thor as a zombie at the Sanctum Sanctorum, and he needs help. And I do want to say that I would watch part 1 and 2 before you watch this part, just to make sure that you guys are all up to date with this series. Again, request your what ifs in the comments down below, and let's finish the Marvel Zombies MCU fan fiction. Strange told Tony that there was no time and that they needed to use a destruction spell on Thor's head to try and break his skull. Tony got into his armor, yelling for Strange not to make a rash decision. Strange used the spell, casting it on Thor, trying to use all of his powers, but it didn't work. Thor used a massive bolt of lightning on Strange, kicking him back. Strange fell to the ground, trying to get to his feet, but Thor screamed in his face, ripping his cloak off of him. Thor threw Strange to the ground, and Wong used a destruction spell, but Thor flew his hand into his chest, killing Wong. Tony told Thor to stop and try to control the virus. Thor yelled, saying he couldn't. He told Tony to leave, but it was too late. Thor was consumed by the hunger, and Iron Man summoned a sword through his armor, stabbing it into Thor. Thor smiled, asking if that's all he had. Tony used the arc reactor, and the pulse blasted through his chest. A hole went through it, and Thor fell to the ground, crawling, trying to get to his feet. Tony said that he didn't want to do this, and he asked if gods couldn't die. Blasting a powerful ray from his arm, Tony shot it, but Thor used lightning, dodging the blast, throwing Tony through a wall. Thor picked up Tony and was about to bite him until webs hit Thor in the face. Tony was surprised to see Spider-Man. Tony yelled at Parker not to engage, and Spider-Man punched Thor in the face, but was bit from the attack. Spider-Man fell to the ground in pain, and Strange got back up, crawling, getting his cloak. His vision was blurry, but he saw Spider-Man and Thor eating Tony. People were screaming, and Strange reversed time moments before Spider-Man was infected. Doctor Strange screamed in pain, using a destruction spell on Thor's head, caving his skull in. Thor dropped to the ground lifeless, and Spider-Man and Iron Man were shocked to see that Thor was killed. Iron Man asked Strange why he did it, and Strange told Tony that there was no other way and that they were going to save him, so they needed to save everyone else, letting Thor die. He told Tony he saw him get infected, and he used the time stone to reverse it before he was going to be dinner. Tony picked up Thor's body, phoning Steve. The Guardians landed on the planet. It was cold, dark, and things felt like death. Gamora told Star-Lord that she learned about the location years ago, but never told Thanos, because if he ever got the stones for himself, he would be unstoppable. But now his plan to retrieve them all was over, and there needed to be room for a new plan. Star-Lord was happy knowing that food was going to be endless once they got their hands on all of the stones, but he told Gamora that if they were doing the right thing here, and she agreed with him, but she told Peter that they couldn't be helped and that they couldn't save themselves at this point. This was the new way of life. The only way to survive was feeding, even if it meant killing innocent people. They made it on the top of the mountain, but no one was around, just a dark shadow casting from the rocks. They heard cloaks waving around, and Drax smiled, pointing his knife at the figure in the distance. He said that there was fresh food here, but he stopped in his tracks by the Red Skull. Skull told him that he was there to suffer for a long period of time, and that the only way he could be freed was for someone to be worthy of the Soul Stone. Red Skull said, "A soul for a soul," and the team here headed down, wanting to know who was going to make the ultimate sacrifice. Drax raised his hand, being pushed by Gamora and Star-Lord. Star-Lord looked at Mantis and said he was sorry for this, but it only made sense. Drax picked up Mantis, throwing her off of the cliff, screaming. He didn't want to do it, but it was done. The deed was finished and they grabbed the stone, but were shocked to learn that even though they were zombies, they still had their souls. They could maybe somehow cure themselves from this, but Star-Lord explained that they couldn't and that this was their new path. They got into the ship, setting their location for Earth. They had 2 stones there, learning this from the ship's archives. Thanos kept tabs on the Avengers from Earth, and since the Guardians had access to everything, they were able to learn all the information and how to get each stone. Tony brought Thor's dead body to Avengers compound and he started studying the body, learning about the virus and how it worked. He needed to find a cure and Thor's body was a good way to learn about this, and Doctor Strange went searching for Steve Rogers, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, and Vision. They were all wanted criminals hiding in Scotland after the events of Civil War. Tony wanted to talk to them, but since he was busy trying to find a cure, he let Doctor Strange know about their whereabouts. Doctor Strange found the team hiding in an old broken down factory. Strange told them what happened with Thor, and he said that there was a virus that is lurking in the universe and they needed the Avengers to stop this before it could get out of hand. Cap was shocked hearing the news about Thor, but he knew that if Thor was dead, things were getting serious. He agreed, asking if they were going to be safe going back to the States, but Strange said it was all covered. The heroes walked through the portal, seeing Tony and Rhodey. They were ready to fight, but were stopped by Doctor Strange. Black Widow looked in horror, seeing Thor's body. She asked what happened, and Tony explained that the zombie virus has started somewhere in space. Since Thor was infected by his sister, there was no way of knowing if it was a magic spell or a virus. Tony got out of his seat, telling the team that he thinks that it could be a mixture of both, but even still, he said that Thor couldn't fight it, but infected Spider-Man fast in another timeline. Peter told Tony that maybe they could create nanotechnology, what his suit was made out of. It would easily destroy the zombie's skin by breaking it down, and it could kill them within seconds. Cap asked Tony if there was a cure, but he shook his head, saying no. Cap yelled, telling them that they wanted to save lives and not kill any innocent people if they could avoid that at all costs. Tony told Steve that there was no other way. Steve looked at Thor's body and he had an idea, but it was risky. He told Tony and the rest of the team that they should bring Thor's body back for more tests at Wakanda. Doctor Strange agreed and wanted to learn more from the other scientists. They grabbed the body, opening the portal to Wakanda. With the Mind and Time Stone left, the Guardians were on their way to Earth. Star-Lord told the rest of the Guardians that as much as he felt a sense of belonging to Earth, their hunger needed to be satisfied first. With them having 4 stones at hand, they are confident that they will be successful at Wakanda. Thor's body had been transported to their facilities for Shuri to do further testing. Doctor Strange meanwhile told the Avengers that he would stay with Shuri in case Thor got reanimated again. The other Avengers agreed and decided that they should be at standby just in case anything happened. At the same time, the Guardians have now found the coordinates to the remaining stones at Wakanda. Rocket asked Star-Lord whether they would be able to defeat the defenders of Earth and whatever happened to Thor. Star-Lord replied that one of the major advantages they have over the Avengers is that they needed just one bite to infect the others. With Groot by their side, it should be an easy deed to do. The Guardians ship arrived at Wakanda and Black Panther was alerted that something was spotted outside of their defense's premises. The Guardians told him that it was just a ship and there were several individuals who came out of the ship, and the individuals did not look suspicious, and Black Panther set out several guards to survey the situation. The guards approached the Guardians and requested for their purpose of landing at Wakanda. Star-Lord, who still had his helmet, asked whether they knew where the remaining Infinity Stones are. The guards merely replied that they are unaware of it and told the Guardians to return from wherever they belong. Drax, who was starving for flesh, charged and jumped onto one of the guards before slashing them. One of the guards managed to flee and reported to Black Panther via his earpiece and that these strange individuals have attacked them and causing the other guards to turn into zombie-like creatures. As he was about to report more, he was stabbed in the back by Gamora and his neck was ripped off. Black Panther told the other Avengers that it seems like the threat has arrived earlier than anticipated. He told the Wakandians to prepare for the defenses, and Black Panther saw from afar that there were 2 spaceships that landed. One was the spaceship that had the other people who attacked his guards, and the other was a huge spaceship, and Black Panther saw that many people were coming out from the spaceship. On Star-Lord's side, they have already seized the Grand Master's spaceship. The ship was already carrying the Asgardians, and they had already bitten half of the Asgardians and eaten the remaining ones. They didn't want to kill off all of them, as they wanted to have a sufficient army to devour Earth. The zombified Asgardians were black, hideous, and smashing themselves against the barriers of Wakanda. Groot used his limbs to carry the Asgardian spaceship and threw them against the barrier, eventually crippling Wakanda's defenses. The zombified Asgardians charged towards the Avengers, and a huge chaos ensued, and the fallen Wakandans immediately turned into zombies and started biting and infecting the others. Captain America told the other Avengers that they needed to fall back, as being bitten is not an option. The Avengers retreated to the base, and Shuri was still researching on Thor and discovered that Thor's body has been infused with some sort of toxic blood that triggered their minds to be craving for flesh only. She said that searching for your cure could take a long time, as the source of blood is identifiable. Iron Man asked Doctor Strange what would be the next course of action, to which he replied that he would try and see into the future to see the possible outcomes. Doctor Strange told them that there could be only one possible solution to the problem, whereby someone needs to wield the Infinity Gauntlet to turn the situation around. However, doing so would result in death, as nobody is capable of wielding it alone. If not, then it's just a matter of time before the entire Earth will be filled with zombies. Iron Man looked at the rest of them and told them to hold off the zombie horde without getting infected as much as they can. Spider-Man asked him on what he was going to do, and Stark merely replied something that could save us from this mess. The Avengers eventually faced the Guardians and the zombies. Several Avengers have been infected already, such as Black Widow, Oki, M'Baku, Hawkeye have already been bitten. Captain America told Iron Man that they are on the verge of collapsing. The Guardians stormed into the facilities where Doctor Strange and Vision were staying. Star-Lord told him that the last 2 remaining stones, which are the Time Stone and the Mind Stone, is needed to complete the gauntlet. Doctor Strange and Vision tried their best to shield off of the attacks from the Guardians alongside Cap, Spider-Man, Bucky, and Wanda. A fiery clash ensued, and Star-Lord, who had all of the stones. The remaining Avengers were being overwhelmed by the massive number of zombies and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Star-Lord has acquired the gauntlet from Eitri and the Master Forge who created Mjolnir for Thor. After forcing Eitri to create the gauntlet for the stones, he and the other Guardians feasted on him and the other dwarves before destroying their planet. With the Infinity Gauntlet now in his hand, Star-Lord and his Guardians managed to overwhelm the Avengers. Drax stabbed Doctor Strange in the gut before he could use the Time Stone to reverse the time, while Gamora used Corvus Glaive's glaive to cripple Vision. Groot then ripped off of the stone from Vision's skull, while the other Asgardian zombies tore apart Strange. On the brink of victory, Star-Lord placed the remaining stones into the gauntlet. He was about to snap before Spider-Man, who was still alive, webbed up Star-Lord's hand. He shot out electrical webs to Star-Lord, incapacitating him. However, Star-Lord now, with the gauntlet, reversed time with the Time Stone and brought himself close to Spider-Man before shooting his head off with his gun. With another pest gone, Star-Lord was about to snap when Iron Man appeared and chopped off Star-Lord's hand with his upgraded axe. Iron Man grabbed Star-Lord's missing hand and placed it on his suit. His suit's wrist changed to reassemble the Infinity Gauntlet. Iron Man gathered all the Infinity Stones and looked at the chaos around him. Almost everyone has been zombified except for him and Captain America. He told Captain America that while the others are mindless and zombified, he hoped that by snapping, they would return to their senses and this zombie incident never occurred in the first place. He added that Doctor Strange probably foreseen the scenario and the zombies were approaching him swiftly. Iron Man then snapped his fingers and all of a sudden, everyone who was zombified started turning back to normal. Their skin became normal and they started to look human again. However, all of them had one thing in common. They lost their memories of what happened from the entire zombie incident. It all felt like a really bad dream, and Captain America was the only sole survivor who remembered what happened. Tony used all of his last strength to snap and eventually died due to his immense pressure from snapping. The rest of the Avengers were shocked to see that their leader, Iron Man, was dead, resting in Pepper's arms. When they asked Captain America what happened, he merely replied that Iron Man sacrificed himself for the greater good of the universe, and the zombie threat has been destroyed, and a grand funeral was held for Iron Man, although they were unaware of the exact details, but they knew that the universe was still safe for now. And that is going to wrap up What If Marvel Zombies was in the MCU timeline. This was a massive MCU horrifying fan fiction with a proper ending, a really good ending. I didn't go too far with this ending where we didn't have a dark ending this time. I'm really happy how this turned out. This was an incredible fan fiction. I really appreciate all of the support, guys. We've been doing a ton of different MCU fan fictions with a ton of requests, and the Marvel Zombies MCU one was highly requested. So again, I'm really happy to do this one. It was really interesting to see how the zombies faced off against the Avengers, and I really wanted to have the Guardians of the Galaxy to become evil and really have that kind of like twist and turn with the zombified Guardians going up against the Avengers for the fight of Earth. You know, things got out of hand really fast after Thor 3, I will say that. But again, if you guys did enjoy this fan fiction, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn your notifications on so you and your friends are all up to date with latest content. But what is the next fan fiction, guys? Let me know in the comments down below. I will be looking at all of those requests, so things are going to be getting interesting this summer. We're ramping up production for a lot of different things. I'm actually doing my own What If Marvel Zombies Revenge storyline, and that's going to be coming out soon. That's going to be a complete animated comic book. It's going to be really interesting. We're getting closer to 100K, and I'm just super excited that things are moving fast and these stories keep getting better and better, and you guys keep requesting some amazing stuff. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in and have an amazing day.